Hello, my lovely crazy audience. Today we have a treat. And from all the lives, this is the one that everybody's been replicating, and we already have people jumping. The amount of questions that I have in private, guys, nobody's going to bite you. You can make questions. Today we have someone that I adore. It's her day off. She's remodeling the house. And for anyone who has been remodeling the house, you don't know what is a shithole, and she's a perfectionist. Everything that she does is perfect. So we're pissing off with her magic. So let me to introduce the one and only Krystyna Lennon.
Hello.
Christina, hi,
this, is,
love.
this is my temporary office.
A temporary, what is going to happen? I cannot imagine why you don't have any of the psychedelic things on the 80s. I'm wearing an 80s jacket. You see the psychedelic.
This isn't my normal office. So this is my partner's office, David's office. So I'm borrowing his boring office. Mine's a bit more interesting, but it's very dusty up there, so we're not going up there.
Well, let me tell you, my first money in the United States was I flipped in an apartment. My first apartment was in Miami Beach. I got a studio for $60,000, and I did all the work. Sheetrock, plumbing, electrical, everything, and I resell it for 170. And it says, wow, all coming from South America and Europe, that you learn to do absolutely everything is pay off. So when I bought my house on the forest and during the pandemic, I'm like, first of all, I celebrate for 6 months that pandemic. I don't need to see anyone. And I tackle all the project. I still have half of the project off, because what happened is, between making money, having fun, we're making money people. So that's what happened.
I know my daughter's partner said, how come you and your mum can literally do everything? It's like, because we were poor. You either did it yourself or you did without.
I saw that you using a vanity dresser as a vanity, and I said, oh my God, I need to send you mine. Took me a month to figure out how to do the plumbing, because I still want the drawers.
I've got somebody doing all that. I sanded the dresser, and because I like to do some stuff, but someone else is doing the bathroom and everything, and they're drilling all the holes. I don't do it all myself anymore.
I did the holes. I get the vanity, the circular, and I got these nuts. I make nuts from copper pipes and painted in black. I'm gonna send you the pictures.
Yeah.
And I did this rustical industrial. I make the walls like it's an old warehouse, and I cover all in silver mirrors. Like, people go to the bathroom and says, why are you taking so long? Because I don't remember what I can do to piece of.
I can imagine. I'd love to see your house.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right.
I can imagine.
It's kind of eclectic, full of skulls, that's for sure, and cats. That's for sure. Okay, we tend to be serious. Let me tell you, Krystyna and I, we met online. We never met in person. I think we met through Eric Huntley. You were a guest, I was a guest, and I says, Eric, I need an introduction with this woman. You are first, the order of presentation indicate the personality. You're an amazing human being. You are on what most people would call more the dark side of behavior, but you're an extremely empath person. You are amazing, and you're a great show woman. For the people who, I don't know under what rock you live in, she hypnotized Simon Cowell to be nice live in America and British Got Talent. You hypnotized Drew Barrymore live. She falls head down. And you hypnotize people to forget that the number 7 exists. That is amazing. That was something that, oh my God. And you're a psychotherapist, hypnotherapist, and the creator of the delete method. So how the heck, you're not born and at the age of 12 says, I want to be a ballerina or hypnotist. How you ended up doing this?
It was, do you know what? It was 30 years ago. Well, no, it was just a bit over 30 years ago. I was pregnant.
Wait, you're older than 40?
Just a little bit. Yeah, I was pregnant with my son, Joel, my middle child, and I knew he was going to be big. And I met a stage hypnotist, and he said, I can hypnotize you to have a pain-free birth. And I thought, why not? And
No
it was back
drugs?
no drugs. So it was back in the 90s. I was 8 months pregnant, ready to drop, and he sat and smoked about 20 cigarettes through this hypnotherapy session while he hypnotized me to have a pain-free birth, and it worked. And at the time I was a counselor. I'd already started counseling, psychotherapy training, and I was like, I have to learn this skill. And the same guy had a stage show with a dog that hypnotized people, which was a bit crazy. And years later, when he came to retire, he said, take over my show. And I was like, hell no.
We were talking before we went live that we hate this. We love what we do. We go on a stage, we go and do what we need to do, but be personal in the stage. People don't understand it's painful no matter what you do. You can control a room of 1,000 people, but you cannot control yourself.
I used to be absolutely terrified of public speaking. So when I organized a family get together for I've got a half Irish, half Polish family, and I organized a family get together for my Polish cousins, 64 first cousins, and there was hundreds of people there. And I'd organized it, but I daren't stand up in front of everybody and just say, thank you for coming. I had to get my big sister to do it for me. And it was at that point I decided I needed to work on myself so I could be confident to speak on a stage. And that was around about the same time as Hugh said, take over my show. And so I worked on myself using the delete method to get rid of my anxieties and my fears so I could go out there being confident instead of throwing up or passing out, which would have been the case had I not done that.
I have done a stage like good, but I remember the first time that I need to do a webinar live without audience, because you and I, we feed from the audience. You need the feedback, like what the people is feeling. But being alone in this, I throw up before, during, and after, and I'm not lying. It was middle of 2019. And I put slides because I knew, and I was like devastated and says, no, it's not going to work. So I went to the second city to take improv classes. And the teacher came to the second day with an envelope with cash and says, I'm paying you back to not come back. He says, why? He says, funny, you are not. You're the weirdest person I ever met. And then I was committed to help people to get on a stage and says, I feel your pain. I understand how painful. Let me help you to become more like human in front and conquer. It's still weird as heck. That is not going to change. But I just do methodology. Like I was smoking a cigarette, like, okay, let me poof. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I am nervous and being here.
I need to give you a session.
I don't know if I would have stopped. I stopped some bad things in my life. I'm turning 54 in 15 days. I don't know. You know what? In Europe, everybody's smoking. Latin American.
No, I don't mean about smoking. I couldn't do that. I don't do that. It's about being confident on camera, about not being scared.
You know what? We talked last week when we were doing the prep, talking about introversion, extroversion, and you says, well, you don't have the chip in your brain when you're introvert to be having the networking or socialize. Actually, the brain of an introvert is different than an extrovert. On top of that, I'm clinically shy and an hermit. I literally don't like people. I have an interview with Dot Byron 2 weeks ago and says, what do you mean? Why you don't like people? Because I can see through them and I see them coming before they come. And it's difficult for someone like us be wired all the time, because as soon as they know what you do, they're asking questions, like your free consultation 24/7. You get depersonalized from the person to the character, because I'm sure we were running the videos of your show for 2 days and like, oh, she's going to hypnotize you. Like, let's meet Krystyna first and then talk about the myth and things. But now she's not going to be hypnotizing people falling on the head when they're driving. Like, no, we're not going to be doing that. We're going to talk about general things, but people get depersonalized with what is the character and what is the person in this case.
Yeah. It's literally the people that came to do my bathroom. Oh, as soon as you walked in and he found out what I did, oh, you'll have to hypnotize me to stop smoking. No, that's not what I do.
No,
I wouldn't know where to start.
and by the way, if you don't want to stop, if you want to stop smoking, you probably want to stop. You don't ask me. So let's start with the fact. Okay, let's just start with the fact that we're coming from the 1800. We know the story, but I'm more fascinated with the division between the show person or the showman that you go to Vegas. You see those amazing shows. There are a lot of hypnotists. They're really good, but it's a show. And the clinical aspect that is coming from 1800, Erickson started the first association, and how many people can be helped. Because a lot of people that I know for a long time, that says, hey, by the way, you know that I've been practicing hypnosis for years. Like, you never talk. It says, because sometimes when I practice hypnosis, people think this is a buju, and there is accepted on the Vegas Hollywood side. But when you talk about clinical, happen like psychology and psychiatry. Psychology is still the back end of a therapy of pseudoscience. People don't believe it. If you're not a medic doctor and psychiatrist, you're not good enough. So let's do a division from a professional, because you have been in both on the stage, and you are a professional helping people every day, creating a method that you have, by the way, is registered. You cannot copy it. It's trademark.
Yes. Yeah, so there is obviously the stage stuff, and there is the therapy, and there is an overlap. Absolutely, there's an overlap. The method we use to get somebody into a state of hypnosis will be similar. So a stage hypnotist and a therapist will use similar methods to get people into a suggestible state. The difference is, with a stage show, we have the group mentality. So we have people want to comply. So we can, because of the group mentality, we can push things so much further on stage. We can get a much, much deeper level of hypnosis, if you want to call it that, if there is levels, but we can get so much more compliance on stage than we can in a therapy room. However, go on.
One question is, because everybody have expectations about you. It's an adrenaline level, is dopamine, excitement, is oxytocin. It's like the first follower. The first follower is when you see somebody jumping and suddenly the second person follow, and then all the group go to the mass effect. Everybody is under that pseudo hypnosis, because I don't know what is the right term, and everybody follow and says how somebody can go to a football game, become violent when never show any sign of violence, or go to a manifestation and become violent. Is the group effect. It has to do with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I get people up on stage, first of all, I ask for volunteers. So I get people that want to be up there and want to perform. That's what they know. They're there to be funny, to perform, to do whatever. So we're not going to get the shy, retiring type that wants to sit in the audience. So when I've got people up, say if I've got 15 people, I'm looking for people that comply. So I do silly things like I make them sit stand really quickly, and I will deliberately send somebody back. They are an example. I am sending them back because everybody wants to be on stage. So if I send somebody back, they're like, oh, I better do what she says quickly, otherwise I'm going to get sent back. So
I didn't saw that in any of the shows.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll send somebody back straight away, even if, they could be a brilliant subject, but it's to make an example, to say, look what happens if you don't do exactly what I say without question.
Do you send the weak one? How you choose who's going to be the one let out?
Just the slowest to respond. I want somebody who will respond instantly to what I say, because it's not funny if I keep having to give them the suggestion or, at
the end it's a show. People expecting a show. You need to give them.
And that's the difference. On stage, I want them lively. I want them responding quickly. Anybody that's sluggish, or some people are tired, they look sleepy, send them back. So you do send people back for, if people are inappropriately dressed, especially if you're doing TV work, but anything that sort of prevents you from doing a great show. If you've got a bad apple, you get rid of that straight away. Otherwise, it's going to turn the rest. So
we talked about the bad apple effect last week, that
yes,
one can ruin 40% of the rest of the crew.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and when I am on stage, I'll move people. So I'll make sure that I've got lively, quieter, lively, quieter. So when people, you know, like if I say you're blooming into a flower, I'll give them small suggestions first. The people that are starting to move will nudge the other person, and and that will make them move. So if you've got all the lively people at one end and the quieter people, I will lose the quiet people. So I have to mix them up so that they get that effect throughout. It's an even effect.
So there any characteristic, without spilling the secret sauce, because I have worked in Vegas with hypnotists, shows, magicians, poker players, and certain characteristics on the profile that people is easy to influence.
Apparently there is it wrinkles on the forehead is supposed to signify that somebody's easier to hypnotize.
There's some, do you want to go over that?
I don't know. I've heard this. I haven't really studied it. So I don't know whether it's true or not, but yeah, if you
there's compliance on the word. Actually, and funny because in Facebook we talk about that we have the same glasses. We have so many similar things on the house. So there's certain compliance and says, do you agree to be hypnotized? Yes, ma'am. That is a compliance. That is a person that is coming from, no, I don't know if a military background, but is like in how they address to you. Yes, Krystyna. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Miss Lennon. There are certain compliance, more compliance, and the answer, more propense they are to follow what you says.
Exactly.
If they come in with a friend, if they're a follower, if there's somebody come with them or somebody pointed, and when somebody pointed, that person agreed to go there. They're going to follow what other people tell. If that there's something about that a lot of people talk, but since I specialize in faces, it's the lower part of the eye, the lower eyelid, is when you are skeptical and you do this, you squint, your 11s are marked. That the only thing, the first thing the women erase is the 11, but it's still the squint, you can see it. So when people is relaxed on the lower part of the face, of the eye, is more compliant. Person who lower the lower lip, like the droopy mouth, like
more compliant.
People who have the corner of the mouth straight or up. The people who have it down is more pessimist, is negative. The brain is going to go all the time thinking, what is she trying to do? And they're going to be more worried about what you're trying to do. And another thing, people who have dyslexia cannot be hypnotized. I'm not going to do it alive, but I've been trying to be hypnotized. And the reason I cannot, the guy says, are you trying to ruin me a private? He says, no. He says, are you dyslexic? Like, go out. Why? Dyslexic people apparently are more difficult to be hypnotized because we have connected the right and the left brain. And it's all connecting, and your emotions are all the time with your left brain and thinking, so you never stop your brain.
I have 2 dyslexic children, and both of them are pretty suggestible. They've both been hypnotized successfully. So
I went to the wrong person, I'm sure.
Maybe. I've not heard that. I mean, people used to say that ADHD requires a different induction. I've got ADHD. No, absolutely not. I think there's a reassurance that, you know, your mind can go wherever it wants. Fine. Yeah, that helps. And somebody with ADHD sort of relax because they can never pretty much stay in one place mentally. But yeah, there's the only people really that I struggle with are deaf people for obvious reasons. But, you know, if you had somebody that did sign language, you could work with that.
Oh, really?
But yeah, you can hypnotize somebody through sign if you can sign, or if you have some, you know, translator, a signer, and people that are of quite low intelligence, i.e., not able to follow simple instructions. So if I have a client and there's certain instructions that I want them to follow before we even get to the session, I know I'm going to have problems. Like they'll email me and they'll say, oh, do I need to do anything before the session? And it's like, you've already had an email to tell you what you need to do before the session. Either they haven't read it or they've read it and they haven't been able to follow simple instructions. But I can start to see with some clients that can't follow simple instruction that I'm going to have problems.
We have the first question. Perry, I'm curious to know what has been one of the most surprising moments of your hypnosis career.
Surprising moments?
Get Simon Cowell to be nice? That was whoa.
I think surprising in that I was told it would be David Walliams that came on stage and it ended up being Simon Cowell. So I was a bit like, oh my God. But I think one of the most surprising things to me, I'm not very good with names. And I went over to Hollywood to do a TV show in Hollywood called The World's Best. And I was told that I'd be hypnotizing this certain person. I'm not going to give you the name. But I was like, okay. And in my head, I saw Debbie Harry. And I don't know whether you know who Debbie Harry is. She was a famous UK singer. I think she was international. Is it Blondie or I can't remember. But that's who I had in my head. So they said, right, we're going to take you to her room now. I got settled in the room and, I was like, okay. The door opens and Drew Barrymore is stood there. And I was like, oh, it's you. She was like, who are you expecting? I was like, and then it clicked and I was like, oh, Debbie Harry. But yeah, I suppose that was quite surprising. But
she followed on the hypnosis, really. So like she was the last one of the group, like head down.
Yeah. But I think most surprising, that was quite surprising, but that's not really hypnosis related. Again, in Hollywood, I hypnotize people. When you do a TV show, it's always hurry, 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 and then sit there for 2 hours. They're like, we need you in makeup. We need you, we need you side of stage. And then you get side of stage, there's issues, and you end up sitting there for 2 hours. So I had, this day I was working with this group of people and I ended up working with them the whole day because it was like, you're going to be on at this time, then you're going to be on at this time, and then it's going to be this time. So they were in and out of hypnosis the whole day. We did the show and we left, and I went for dinner with my son who lived in LA at the time. And I got a phone call frantic from the team saying all of the volunteers left and they're all starting to ring in and telling me they've been violently sick. What's happening? And I was like, oh my God, got back to the studio. And I was like, what's happening? Were they like, none of them had eaten together. So I was like, what was going on? And when we started questioning everything, somebody, whilst they were in hypnosis, 2 people that were asked to watch them had been discussing having a stomach bug.
Oh my God.
That was it. And all of them were violently ill because they were in such a suggestible state. And it's probably a state that most hypnotherapists wouldn't experience because they don't hypnotize people for days on end and especially not in that situation in a group setting that's much more powerful. So these people were such a suggestible state that they would commit murder if I asked them to without question. They would instantly respond. And just because somebody was speaking about having a stomach bug, they were all violently ill.
Talking about that, let's go to, and we're going to go with the clinic because we're already 25 minutes on. And Malt, be nice. Come on.
Is that your cat?
Who do you think is going to be? Come on. Here, please. No, with that. Here. Distraction. You see, I mean, with the cats, you don't say no. You give them something else to get this. I cannot seek. Do you know what is to catch? 6 cats in a 4,000 square foot house.
You've got 6 cats. Oh my God.
It's impossible. And you have prints only. I have 6. So, and I want to, we're going to go to these, and we're not going to go to the psychedelics, all the things. I go to, let's do something serious for my part, at least. No, because you're not serious, because I'm never serious. So everybody talk about the Manchurian Candidate, and I've been reading a couple of cases. I'm getting fascinated, and I think when I finish my neuromarketing and neuroscience master, I'm gonna be one of your students, and I get my nose, not because I'm not gonna do it, it's because I already has been snooping around, and I don't want to say anything because I haven't studied with a master. You need to go to the best. They talk about the Manchurian Candidate, and it's like, okay, it's true, it's not true. There was a case that in a stage that somebody was hypnotized in a stage who was a policeman who was carrying a gun, and everybody was hypnotized under a suggestible, aggressive situation, and the person ended up shooting someone. And I start thinking, okay, what is the difference between manipulation and hypnosis, and make people believe, manipulating people believe the things they don't want? You have people who have confessed to crimes when they don't even has been on the country. So it's a thin line between the healthy hypnosis and I do believe, and again, it's a personal opinion, that you can make someone do something they don't want when you have an intelligent person who is submitted to a violent relationship, and or intelligent individual married or with a narcissist, a psychopath, and they are completely vulnerable and breakable. So no matter what is your IQ, your EQ can make you susceptible to things. So that's a reason I want to talk with you and not a Hollywood performance, because to me it's serious that if you go to the wrong person, if you go to the wrong crowd, you can become everything the other person wants you to become. Look, the cults.
Yeah. So there is obviously there's out and out hypnosis. So most people say that you can't be made to do things that you are against your morals or your values under hypnosis. Absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. I could give you, so you love your cats, yeah? You love your cats. I could tell you that you have a water gun in your hand, and I could ask you to squirt your cat to stop it running around the studio. Yeah. That could be a real gun, but I've just hypnotized you to believe it's a water gun. So I could make you shoot your cat by just changing your perception of what was happening. So that's one way you can get somebody to do something that they don't want to do. You change the situation. Just like politicians are telling us in the UK that all the immigrants are causing all the problems. You know, they want us to direct our anger there instead of, at them.
That's the reason tomorrow we're going to talk about hypnosis, manipulation, and labeling. And I want to separate it because obviously I don't want to drag you on my dragon hole. So yesterday we talked about labeling, that how you can convince yourself, I'm a loser, I'm a loser, I'm a loser, I cannot get up, I'm going to fail. Guess what? You fail. When I convinced myself, because somebody told me you're not stupid, my career took off. After the age of 36, I got divorced, I moved, and my career took off in a way that never would expect it, so I'm not stupid. So I stopped thinking about that. So I cannot imagine what I have accomplished faster if I would have a person like you go through the unwiring, the stupid thoughts that we put in our head. And we talk about unwiring, and now I want to go, we have a couple of questions. You want to go before we go to the clinical side of the questions, or you want to leave it for the end?
Whichever's.
Okay, let's go for order. But I love the point that you do, because people think, and one of the most difficult when you go to court with somebody who did a false confession, is to convince a juror that can be done. It says nobody can confess. Oh, honey, you don't have an idea. Give me 45 minutes, a wide room. This is the situation. Wide room, no floor, no wall, no ceiling division, white lighting, blue white lighting with a flicker of the light, white table, me wearing white, the person wearing white. They don't know what the end, and give me 45 minutes inside a room. you're done. You can tell me you're a chicken, whatever. I have seen do that and like, fuck.
Yeah.
Until you don't see it. And it's okay to talk about it. And I think people need to be more educated and get out of the fascinated. Go to Vegas, pay for the show, pay for the ticket, go to the casino, have fun. But in reality, we're more susceptible than you think.
Yeah.
So Luis is the other one. Then I know, Luis, we did the introduction to Master in London last year. I didn't know you were a hypnotist too. Sorry.
Yeah.
Read the death. Hypnotist on my sessions using word, the clients is hypnotized by the story. Okay, I have a small card. The story and suggestion and embed the countdown. So she learned to go deep quickly, then open the eyes to follow the suggestion. That is more for you. No idea what I read.
So that's about deaf people. So she's saying how she hypnotizes deaf people.
She says about the stomach bug crazy. Perry says, why? I stand by the stomach bug story. Can someone actually be hypnotized to do something that goes again? Yeah. If she says, then I can hurt my cats. I can hurt my neighbor. I can hurt my ex-husband. I wouldn't touch my cat. If Krystyna says I can do it, I believe I can do it.
It's literally you just change the perception. You just change the perception. You make them believe that it's not their cat, or, you're just shooting a tin can or something. Yes, you can be made to do. People have been raped. People have been robbed using hypnosis. So you can be hypnotized against your will, and you can be made to do things that you would not normally do. Most
Charles Manson
hate me saying that, but
Charles Manson and the people, the 100 and something people who killed their own family drinking the Kool-Aid, they were convinced the cult effect, the doomsday. Check on cults. People do stupid things. Now, that is so important to put your McDonald's. I called this is my McDonald's. This is stopped working. I stopped making money. So be careful who use your therapies, who are your friends, who you're working with, who you put your thoughts on, who you talk when you're done and when you're good.
I always say we are content consumers. And you have to be very, very careful with the content you are consuming, because whoever you are around, whoever you are listening to, or whatever you are reading has a huge impact on your psyche, your beliefs, your values, everything, who you are as a person.
People don't know how the media work, how the algorithm, the media, they fed you the two things that people share. And I learned that for 18 years in politics, that again, 20, 30 years ago, we didn't know that is a name or is a bias or is a science behind what we did naturally. So first of all, two things that people share: anger and happiness. And arouse and fear happen on the same part of the brain. If it's not, understand why people like kinky things. Get excited with that. Simple. Use your mind. Go to your rabbit hole. We're not going to talk about kinkiness. I have a friend that is a dominatrix and another friend is a former nun. Do you know what is having drink with these two? Fun. So with that says, is when I saw a dog mistreated, that is not pity, it's anger. When I see a dog safe, that's happiness. That's what you share.
Yeah.
So the media, you go see something sad, anger, happiness, anger, happiness. Now I'm selling you an antidepressant.
Yeah. And it's like they hook you in with fear. That is so powerful. Anger and fear are two of the strongest emotions. So if they can make you scared of something, they can make you completely distracted from other things.
Yeah, and fear too, like, okay, the immigrants are gonna take, the Wall Street is gonna fall. If you don't vote for this person, like, I will not gonna talk. I'm not talking from the hypocrite part. Okay, I'm a mercenary. I'm proud of all the job that I have done. I my limits. If you hurt an animal, a human being, you abuse someone, or domestic violence, or human trafficking, I'm gonna do for free the work on the other side. Clear. That is my limit. But the truth to it all, I'm a mercenary. I understand those things happen. You need to have a limit. But fear, the fear of, in Latin America, all the political campaign go in fear. If you don't vote for this person, you're going to lose your refrigerator. And sometimes talking about PTSD, so we start moving to the serious part where you're really, really good, is fear and PTSD is not the event, is how affecting you. I'm coming from a hard upbringing, like you, poverty, bad situation, Latin America, alcoholic mother, addicted dad to my mom. So I emancipated myself when I was 17. Like, I did a shithole, I'm out of here. So when somebody put me in a situation and says, Susan, are you okay? Like, yeah, why? Oh my God, it was horrible. I don't take it personal, move on. So I don't have PTSD, but I know other people, then I talk to them and they crawl to the corner and says, I need a therapist. Why? I have a session with Susan. Says, what the fuck? Man up. So PTSD and trauma and things that are affecting you. I know people at the age of 50, they're still traumatized because nobody picked them on the what is the party you have when you finish high school? The prom.
Graduation prom. Yeah.
Like, you must be freaking kidding me. You become a successful lawyer. That's what traumatized it. And that's what I understand. PTSD is not about the trauma, it's how prepared you are to deal with that and how deep you embed that and how long can stay in your mind. And your delete method is based on like, it's not what I think, it's how much affecting you, correct?
It is about what you think. So basically, if there's a bang now, if there's a bang in both of our offices, yeah, if we both hear that bang, our amygdala fires up, and it fires up generally for around about 90 seconds. If I then think, oh, that's that brush and it's fallen over, my amygdala will just start to come back down, 90 seconds, done. Yeah. If I think, oh my God, someone's broken into the house. Oh my God, did I lock the door? Am I going to, oh God, can I hear something? Like, we feed in and start releasing adrenaline and we start to feel anxious. So our thoughts affect how we feel. Every thought we have releases a hormone into our nervous system. So if you're constantly thinking negative or anxiety-provoking thoughts, you're going to feel anxious and negative all the time. You're going to release adrenaline, cortisol.
And when people is on the stage, again, not from the clinical standpoint, not from the hypnosis, from the behavioral standpoint, when people says, oh, between fear and happiness, I want to my people fear me all the time. And Warren Buffett is one of the ones say it. It says, well, I agree in a certain point. People need to know, they need to respect you. You can be assertive, warm and assertive. That is the best combination. But if you keep people in fear all the time, what happen in fear become froze, fight, or flight.
Yeah.
And when you have people in cortisol and a stress hormone all the time, guess what happened? In some point, they get disconnected because it's human nature. So if somebody has fear for something to happen to them, like agoraphobia, a lot of people is afraid to leave the house after the pandemic. People is afraid to socialize. People don't know how to socialize. Those fears, I guess that before and after pandemic become a shithole, what you find out on the market as a patient.
Yeah. After the pandemic, wow. I mean, my business just went through the roof. It was fantastic.
Sorry, people, but you need to understand your problem is our business. Your crisis is my business. Franklins are so happy with crisis. That would keep my team afloat.
Yeah, it was like, I don't have to socialize with people. People have to stay like 2 meters away from me, and business is booming. Like,
and we can work from home with our cats and pets. That's amazing.
It was great. But yeah, it's fear is, well, I can't remember what the question was now.
No, that we talk about, you and I, we can go on a rampage. It's my fault. It's not Krystyna. I mess with, you see, I manipulate the hypnotizer. I'm a mess. So, we have too much fun together. Some people complain, says, you're having too much fun. Like, well, you don't pay for this, so at least I'm going to have fun. We were talking about that fear get you in an adrenaline level all the time. Fear, flight, and fight. So what happened with that?
What I was going to say is, you can have people that are extremely anxious that wouldn't say boo to a goo. They are the most polite person, because generally anxious people are very, very, very polite. You know, they will not say, you could spit in the dinner and they'll be like, oh, thank you, sorry. But anxious people, if you push them, because they're already in a stress state and anxious, if you push them, they can be the most violent and nasty people. Like, you know, it doesn't take much for them to go over that threshold.
I see
And
them
you're
go
like,
to the
whoa.
extreme.
Yeah.
But it's because they hold it all the
timid.
time, and some point that the tip top the water.
Yeah. So 1 minute they are the most timid, polite, thank you, sorry for existing. And the next minute, you know, they're punching you in the face. So yeah. I speak from experience.
Oh, I have those when it says, oh, be careful with the quiet on the room, like don't push, don't pick the bird. Like those are the one. Well, let's go to the point of that massive shootings. Are the quiet on the corner that everybody bully? I'm not justifying. What I'm saying is pay attention to certain signals. If you poke the bear, emotionally safety is important to not poke the bear and explode. Now, somebody called some in the jargon, they call it the doormat. Can a doormat, and so all the Karens understand, the doormat is the person that in the office, oh, bring me the coffee. She gonna do it. It's not a problem. Can be a man or a woman. Don't generalize don't make a sexual thing. I have seen gender thing. I have seen men doing doormat and woman. They can be rewired with the right treatment and the right assessment to, I don't know if it change who you are, but to says set the level a little lower, not to expect to become a serial killer because you explode too high. Make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I used to be a complete doormat. I was extremely anxious. I was a people pleaser. I had no boundaries, and people took advantage of me right, left, and center. But over the years, I have worked on myself and upgraded my self-image, got rid of my negative thinking, my negative patterns that I was running, and I am no longer a doormat. And I think people see. I know I went to a speaking association meeting, and one of the speakers said his first encounter with me, he was like, "Oh God, you don't mess with her." He said I was like commanding a table, and it wasn't. But I have certain boundaries in place now that I don't take. You know, I don't allow people to walk all over me, and I implemented those boundaries because I used to be such a doormat, a vulnerable person.
Yeah, I have a question that coming again, LinkedIn people. Why don't you ask the question on the chat? Why you're afraid of? I need to be a little. And I was bullied when I was in high school for my dyslexia and my Asperger. I either wasn't this way. When I was 21, I ended up in the emergency room with a perforated ulcer. And I remember says, I'm coming in one way and I'm coming as a bitch. And this come up. It says, yeah, because everybody was taking advantage. It says, not anymore.
Yeah.
Hypnosis is a stage or a process. And I love that question because it's so simple and it says so much.
It's a process that leads to a state, I would say.
I love that.
Yeah, it's the way I see hypnosis is it is about, you know, some people call it mind control, and it's about controlling. It's about people's belief, for one thing. So, but you don't have to necessarily believe in hypnosis for it to work. It's about expectancy. So it's about what you expect. So very often people, there's so many teams for hypnosis. There's, you know, eyes open hypnosis, there's eyes shut relaxation, there's all different methods. And very often I will use some relaxation, and I generally always use eyes closed because people have that expectation of hypnosis. That's what they expect hypnosis is. So I give them what they expect. So, but it's expectation, it's compliance. Compliance is a huge part. So have you ever seen the experiment? It's on YouTube where there's a beep in a waiting room. Have you seen that one?
Oh yeah, that is a manipulation, like the candy camera with the elevator. When it's a beep, everybody stand up
Exactly.
And they saw it, and after 3 or 4 times, like is the first follower effect. And in group, like if everybody do it, I do it. Like you go in a street, you see somebody doing this, and the third or fourth person, and everybody start doing that. So yeah.
So for the viewers, basically, it's a doctor's waiting room, and all the people are actors. And one woman comes in, and there's a beep. Everybody stands up, and then it beeps again. Everybody sits down. Eventually, the woman starts standing up, sitting down. And then what they do is they take one actor out and bring in just somebody coming to the doctor's surgery until the room is full of just the general public. And
wait. And let's see in the chat. And let me tell you, people, what do you think what the actor left? And the only people on the room is the participant. Are you going to be compliant or not? Remember Nuremberg trial? When people would ask why you did it? Who can answer?
Everybody else did.
And nobody answered. You see, they're afraid. I should shut up. What happened, Krystyna? Please let us know what happened with the people. They're not actors.
No, and they all carried on the beat. But my very first day on my hypnosis course in university, the lecturer asked us to stand up, and he asked us to put our arm on the, like, I don't know, I can't remember exactly, but it was like, put your hand on your head, put your hand on your hip, put your hand on the person's shoulder next to you. And his suggestions got worse and worse and worse until people were like, put your hand on the bum of the person. And you were like, and you're like, shit. But it was an example of compliance, you know? And when it's an authoritative figure, so you put me in a doctor's jacket with a stethoscope around my neck, yeah? Different game altogether. If I ask you to take your clothes off, in a normal setting, you'll be like,
depends how sexy you are. Wait, let's see how sexy you are. I'm single. No, but it's true. Yeah, the content and content has a lot to do. If a homeless says, don't cross the street, I don't care. But if a policeman say it, now I'm in a homeless shelter and I ask, where is the bathroom? And the person point me, now I'm going to believe the homeless. So actually, oh my God, you're not the only bad way names. You see all these, I read it. I can tell you the chapter, but I don't remember the name of people who wrote it. So the experiment where Milgram experiment. Thank you. I love you today.
So yeah, I'm a mind reader as well.
So the people were asked to give electrical shots, and we're not going to too much. You can Google it. It's so many videos. To give electrical shot to someone, and the person who was wearing a white coat never introduced themselves as a doctor, only have a white coat. And the most scary part is when I saw the advertisement on the New York Journal with people in agriculture to other doctors. Guess what? The majority of the people compliance over the level that can kill someone. When they ask why, it says because they told me to. So. Again, careful with your McDonald's and what fryers you put on the fryer.
It's very common as well for clients to believe that their therapist has told them to do things or has told them, it'll be, oh, my therapist said that my mum was bad or she did this. And it's like, therapists don't generally tell you anything like that. And if they are saying something like that, get the hell out of there. But very often clients believe therapists have told them something that they haven't. But that's false memory.
We're going to talk tomorrow because this is long and I already keep you more than I should. We're going to talk about Elizabeth Lockwood studies about when she got sued by a person that she says that is not true. And we're going to show the experiments where I can show you that you're more susceptible than you think. Now, Krystyna, what has been the most fascinating revelation that you found out in one of your patients?
Fascinating revelation.
Or what has been the most difficult case that you says, everybody has someone that says, I have clients that says, oh, this is a dead horse. There's no way they win the Derby. And they show you that compliance and all of things.
One of the most fascinating cases was a client that came to me, severe depression. When she turned up, her hair wasn't washed. It was years ago. She looked at the floor. She didn't make eye contact. This is how she spoke to me the whole time, really quiet. And I was talking to her, asking lots of questions. And all of a sudden she mentioned that she sang. And I was thinking, you sing? How the hell do you sing when you can't even lift your head up and speak to me? And she said, I'm going to have to make up a name now because I don't want to expose her. But she said, that's Gemma. And I said, what do you mean that's Gemma? She went, that's not me, that's Gemma. She sings.
She had an alter ego?
It wasn't, no, it was just, she had a stage name. And she separated the confident part of her character and this depressive, anxious part of her character. So I was like, okay. I said, tell me about Gemma. And so she was like, oh, she's into, and she was into a certain era. And I was like, okay. And I said, what would Gemma do in this situation? Oh, well, Gemma wouldn't have a hair like this. Gemma spends hours on her hair. And Gemma wouldn't do this. I said, would Gemma wear those shoes? No, Gemma wouldn't wear those. And I was like, oh my God. And what we realized is she had put all the nice, amazing parts of her personality, she had labeled as Gemma, and she had all the shit, basically. And I was like, when you come back as Gemma. I don't want to see this version of you. I want Gemma. And when she came back the next week, she was unrecognizable. Her confidence was different. Everything was different. And I had to, very often when I do my therapy, I have to disassociate the negative part. In this session, I had to reintegrate those two parts, that this is the whole you.
What gets a person gets such a fracking? Fracking, for the people who don't understand in behavior, is when you divide your life. It's like, okay, 9 to 5, I'm a bitch, 5:05, I'm a doormat in my house. That is fracking. That is when you divide sections. Mm-hmm. But she was conscious, apparently, that the fracking she was doing, the separation, she was aware of the two personas, and she came to you.
She didn't believe Gemma was her.
Oh, interesting.
She believed that when she was Gemma, she was pretending.
Huh.
But Gemma didn't experience depression and anxiety.
Who was the alpha on that stage?
Gemma, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it was like the girl that came to my session was just like the leftovers. And we had to kind of like, this is you.
Which one went to which one therapy to you? Gemma or the one left over?
The leftover. Yeah. The one that had nothing about her. Like she didn't wash her hair. She didn't paint her nails. She didn't dress nice. And Gemma was this vivacious, fun, charming, but she believed it was a character that she played. And it was like, no, hell no, that's you. That's you. You've just separated it.
Now you get me in a rabbit hole. You see, my highly pacifier, like I have so many questions and I cannot ask public. So I'm going to only ask one. What kind of trauma make a person fragment? Because people don't understand trauma can do things to you. Like when you fantasize, when somebody says, oh, it's a pathological liar. Let's see if it's a person who cannot cope with reality and make a parallel world. They have an alter ego that defend that person, that cannot deal with reality. Usually fragmentation in a personality and pathological liars tend to have a really traumatic event. They use that alter ego, for what I understand, to cope with that. It was any traumatic things that you went through to understand why the fracking happened?
So there was no traumatic event, and it wasn't an alter ego. It was just that she hadn't thought that version, because she was so used to playing that character. And, she went out on stage and it was a different posture. It was a different breathing. It was different everything. And then she'd come off stage and she'd just go back to the negative version of her. And it wasn't any trauma. It was simply her thoughts. And when I explained that she was both of these people, and we kind of just was like, let's just put her together, like integrate the two. And she now lives as like somebody that's in between the both. She's still, I still have her on Facebook, which is why I'm protecting her identity. But she now lives as a mixture of the both. That's a more rounded person.
And actually, it doesn't make so much sense. We are not the same people here.
No,
I'm an introvert, shy, and introvert, shy, and don't like people. Let's put it that way. Sorry, nothing personal with anyone. I have a small circle. So 9 to 5, I make every effort. So I wake up 4 or 5 in the morning, depending. My new ROI is like when when I wake up, not all the cats. I do my things. I prepare 9 to 5. I'm completely present. But 5 to after, now I break my calendar, 4 p.m. I don't have any more meetings. I need to be alone with myself. And when you met me on the personal, says, who's the shy? Is the sister Susan? Like, no, that's Susan. Like, what the fuck? She doesn't talk. Like, nope. I have friends that I make in events and says, oh, I rescue her from the corner. She was hiding on the corner. So you have the two personas that need to live together, but to the point that I don't have a name. I'm a bitch 24/7. So you're going to find that person. Don't push the limits. But to the break to the point, I'm fascinated with this case now. I'm going to
You are both of those people. So it's like I'm a bit like, when I have people in front of me, I activate, I come alive. When I don't have people, I sink back, I shrink. And you can ask people that come into my house. Everybody describes my partner David as a quiet one. I'm the loud one. If the postman comes in, he will speak to the postman. I will not even look up. I'm like insular. I just completely go within. After this, I'll be on here and then I'll go and ignore my kids. My kids are adults. But I have both sides to my personality. I am both. I enjoy being around people, but it takes a bit of energy. And then I'm like, when I get home, I'm like, ugh. I like also being on my own and just not speaking to people.
We have 2 questions, and I want to close because you're the expert. I'm the stupid person doing comment, and I should have done more intelligent questions. But I get fascinated every time that we talk. We're going to the rabbit hole. If you need to give 3 or 5 points to someone, beside it, I think is what beautiful you says. It's okay to be both. And give permission to be comfortable with who you are. You don't need to wake up 5 o'clock in the morning to be more productive. I learned something so important yesterday. Your ROI is your sleep. When I was having, I couldn't sleep during the pandemic. I ended up having hallucinations and ended up 2 times in the hospital. It was horrible, the worst thing in the world. So to me, sleeping is secret. So when I sleep well, I'm on fire. When I sleep bad, I'm a horrible person. So that is something that I learned. Give yourself permission to say no, give yourself permission to have a bad day, and give yourself permission from the personal. Now, from the professional point, tell me.
So I always say you have a manual, and we are here and we are learning our manual. So an expert will say, if you are procrastinating, you need to take these 3 steps. Everybody's different. Everybody's unique. What works for you isn't going to work for me. You need to learn your manual. And when we're talking about, being successful, it's learning what time you should get up, what times of the day you are the most productive, what time. I have certain times of the day that I only do admin work because my brain's mush. And it's the same every day. I have some hours of the day, morning time. I never believed I was a morning person. And I am super on fire and on point, and I get my best work done in those hours. And we learn our manual. We learn how we work best, how we respond best. And then you meet your partner and you have to learn their manual. And then you learn how your manuals work together, or a work colleague. A work colleague has a different manual. And you have to then integrate those manuals and see how they work together. So to me, our lifelong kind of mission is to learn our manual. I'm 52 and I'm still learning my manual, how I work best, how to get the best out of myself, and constantly upgrading.
I says, and I'm on TikTok and I'm on Instagram. If you don't follow us, I put Krystyna LinkedIn, because that is where, oh, I got the wrong one. I'm going to put the right link. But Krystyna is on LinkedIn. Please connect with her. She have, and even in LinkedIn, or connect with her on Facebook. That is hilarious. I love when you went to the party with the other women by 5 p.m. and it says next day I have hangover. That's real life. That's how people deal with it. We get hungover, we have fun. But it's not everybody who have a platform, not everybody who have 1 million followers, it's knowing what they're talking about. Be careful who you follow advice. It's easy to say, oh, by 5 p.m. I already have my smoothie. I ran 5 miles and blah, blah, blah. Did you saw them? There are people demystifying influencer. That's the reason the word influencer is a bad word right now. So be careful what it says. Oh no, the successful people is what they're going to sell you. I sell classes in consulting. You sell consulting. It's clear. We are in the exchange world, but we make sure that we are upfront. We let you know that is what we do for a living. But be really careful. This is a transactional. I give you something, you pay me for, vice versa. You pay me, you expect from what I'm going to give you. But be careful who you follow in the media. Followers are not a sign of the you know what you're doing, and you see my pacifiers higher. Go investigate, fight, ask questions. That's the best you can see. Before, give me 3 tips to people to follow when they need to realize that what are the things that I need to be considering if I need therapy, I need hypnotist, what are the things that tell me I need help? I think at the point is, what is can tell me that I need help, because people is afraid to ask for help as a sign of weakness.
I think whenever you're struggling, whatever you're struggling with, if you are struggling, then get help. There's so many different methodologies out there. For things like grief and relationships, counseling is amazing. Hypnosis, I treat anxieties. I treat people, business owners, to try and change their thinking to become more successful. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory. If you're struggling, seek help. Look, research. There is so much more out there than your doctor offers. So much more.
You wouldn't believe how many people says that I'm not supposed to. You're not supposed to what? You're not supposed to be depressed either. So why you're not supposed to ask for help? Now, the media is not the place to ask for pity, because you need to be careful. People hurt you with the things that you says and you don't say. And everybody have a bad time. I went through an accident. I was on a wheelchair. I was on recovery. I was having insomnia. Went through menopause on March 2020. Hello. And I was taking whatever I can to get with the insomnia. I went through a divorce. I went through a lot of things and people didn't know. I just didn't share it when they were happening. I shared after that I struggled. You need to be really careful. The same right that you have to be bad, the same right you have to be asking for things. So it says, Chris, I don't know who you're talking. You're probably talking about Krystyna. I don't do brilliant things. So last one. I laugh about myself. And it's not self-pity to tell me, oh, yes, Susan, you're brilliant. Like, fuck no. I surrender myself by, Machiavelli says, surrender yourself of people that you want to be seen as. That's the reason I have the brilliant Krystyna on the show today. Are there any technique from my hypnosis perspective that people can use independently to break negative thoughts loops? We have only 1 hour, Perry.
Well, the delete method, obviously. The way I work is to delete negative thought loops, which no hypnotherapists do that. They usually future pace you or regress you to childhood, which is dangerous. That's a whole other podcast or live. But yeah, I basically delete the negative thought loops that create anxieties and things like that. Your thoughts are habitual. So if you practice thinking positive thoughts and happy thoughts, that becomes your normal. But that's exactly what my delete method does. And yeah, I can't cover that in 5 minutes, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, because we shouldn't have talked more about that. It's an excuse to bring you back. 3 warnings that is not the right for you. And we talk about that. And bury some things in your past. If you're not ready to cope with that, if the practitioner is not, this practitioner is not ready to deal with. It's extremely dangerous. And you talk all the time, that's the reason I put your LinkedIn, you talk all the time about the dangerousness of put your brain and the wrong people, and be careful what you dig in, because if it smell like shit, look like shit, and taste like shit, maybe to keep
it's there's obviously, I'm a psychotherapist counselor, but there's all this, you've got to uncover all these traumas and let it, and it's not always the case. And very often, most things come from bad thought loops, not from trauma or trapped emotion. So even a therapist suggesting that there is an emotional cause or a trauma in your past that is causing anxiety or whatever else is very damaging, very damaging. And yeah, you're right. I talk a lot about this because I believe we should, first do no harm. So, and we shouldn't go digging about in people's past, especially under hypnosis. It can be very, very damaging. If you're talking about false memory tomorrow, people can tune into that and understand why false memory is prolific and it's very, very damaging.
You understand that my people, the Jewish, we make much money blaming your parents now.
Do you know what? Parents can do nothing. Whether you do a lot for your children or, to be honest, you're best off like on the side of neglect.
Yeah, we fill banks blaming the parents. No, but seriously, I think that we can talk about serious thing to put a smile, because sometimes I allow people to come to the topic when you have two people too serious, like, oh, this is too serious for me. So it's not with respect to anybody in the profession, any of the talk, neither to Krystyna, is that I found out that when we need to take harder and deeper and most complicated conversations, when you put some smile on, it's like, oh yeah, now I can breathe.
I can't do anything seriously, so there's got to be humor in everything for me.
That's it. So check on Krystyna, check on her LinkedIn, check on her method. She, as you can see, she's super approachable, and you can see anything that you see about her is about humanity, her kids, and how human and how to have fun. And one of the things that I love is when you says, fuck, I'm disconnected. I'm taking my husband, my hobby, and that is her husband, and hubby took me for a long weekend. She wearing the big hat and the swimsuit on the beach, having fun and a cocktail, and that is life. That is that permission to be fun and permission to be happy, and you can be serious.
You've got to walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
And I would take one of the things that you says great things, but you says, I wasn't this way. I make myself to be the person I am. So I think that is one a good horizon for a lot of people. Says, I cannot do it. I love the concept, I build myself. So if you can do it, it's not that everybody can do it. You need to have the predisposition, because what you did is enough is enough, and you have the predisposition to change.
Yeah. It was just the hunger to want to change. That's all you need.
Do you have any group or master group? Because how many hours a day you have to see people? Do you have any group? You have classes, then I need to register. And you have a master group? You do anything group wise?
I don't do like masterminds. I do have some groups that I do cybernetic success and things like that. But they're all paid groups. I have an elite hypnotherapy group, which is free, but all my other groups are paid. And generally I just work one-to-one. I am training others in my delete method. That's the only kind of group stuff I'm going to be doing. So yeah.
Well, Louise, I'm going to put you in contact with Louise. I'm sure you too. I think Louise is in the UK too, and she's going to be probably one of the students, and she's going to have a lot to say. Krystyna, thank you very much for being part of this craziness to put up. I called her last week and says, Krystyna, I'm going to do a show in this. It says, okay, I love when people says this. Haha, I enjoyed this tremendously. You don't have an idea, Angie, how much this means to, at least to me as a person doing this, because again, with all the respect in the world for all the topics we talk, we try to make it consumable for a 5-year-old to understand, because sometimes you're going through shit and you don't know how to name it. And when you have people name it in a simple way, you understand that it's you too, it happened to other people, and it's people out there to help you.
Yeah. I don't know any big words anyway.
Me neither. Don't grow up. Please, don't grow up. You people out there, don't grow up. I adore you. You are the best.
Thank you
very
for having
much.
me.
We need to do this again.